Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week, I am joined once again by dear friend of the show, Fabby Garza, this time for a playthrough of Adira Slattery's new game, Deadly Weapons. Deadly Weapons is a game about power, gender, desire, trauma, and hope. It is set in an urban fantasy world very similar to our own, but where underneath the surface demons prowl and avatars hunt. Players create these avatars girls who one day had a gun arrive in their possession, a gun that cries in their dreams and never leaves their side, a gun which whispers in their ear that they must hunt and kill demons. Demons who are all around the avatars, existing as classmates, bosses, even romantic interests, but whether an avatar fires their gun is up to them. Deadly Weapons is a hack of the bullet system by Rhetheabacter toxicus with a focus on atmospheric narrative play. It is a brilliant and beautiful, very lyrical game that, asks some very heavy, probing questions. I mean, it's an Adira Slattery game, so, it's brilliant and well-made and, a beautiful, wonderfully evocative written piece, and I fucking love this game. I love the game that we got to play of it. It fucking rips, and I'm so excited for you to hear the experience that we had on mic, because I think it's something special. You can find more information about Deadly Weapons in the show notes. Now, you know Fabby from her previous appearances on the show. You also know her from the award-winning Eidolon Playtest podcast, an actual play podcast where the creators develop the role-playing game Eidolon Become Your Best Self, which we featured before on the show, with multiple ambitious, interlocking actual play campaigns. It's one of my favorite podcasts. It's really wonderful. Fabby also produces Ultra Hulumbo, a rewatch podcast with her wife, which takes the idea of a rewatch podcast and just makes it so large and ambitious. She explains it better than I do, and I kind of don't want to spoil the surprise of what Ultra Hulumbo is, and I want you to hear her explain it first. You can find more information about all of the wonderful things that Fabby is working on at fabbygarza.card.co, or you can check the show notes for more information. Finally, I want to shout out that if you enjoyed this episode and you want to know more about this game, I sat down with Adira Slattery for a very long interview, really deep diving into some of the themes of the game. It's a really fascinating conversation and a look at some of the subtext of the game, especially in conversation with some of Adira's other work, such as Gunfucks. We also touch on gender and monster fucking and a bunch of other wonderful things. It's a great interview. I'm really happy with it. You can find that right now at patreon.com/JeffStormer, which is also just a good reminder that if you enjoy this show or the games that I make or any of the things, to check out the Patreon. It's a wonderful way to support the creation of the show. It's currently paused in April for life and backlog reasons, but we're coming back in May with a lot of bonus content, extra episodes of Party of One, Party of None, which is our sequel series spotlighting solo games. The Patreon's great. There's a lot of cool stuff on it, and honestly, I'm cooking up some new things to put on it that I'm very excited about. Head over to patreon.com/JeffStormer, listen to the interview, and maybe consider supporting the show. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I'm beyond excited to be sitting down once again with my good friend, Fabby Bear Garza. Fabby, thank you so much for coming back on Party of One.
Thank you so much for having me. This is my favorite show to guest on. Hands down, no questions. This is it. This is oh yeah, no, Jeff, whatever you need, buddy, I'm here.
That, you don't know what that means to me. It means so much to hear that. It makes my day when I hear this. It makes me so happy.
You do good shit. People
Thank you.
I can't remember if we curse here. Feel free to beat me.
It is noted in the guest packet. My official response is fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year since I read that, so if it changed, I'm so sorry.
Nope. Swearing is perfectly okay.
Yeah, no, yes, fucking let's go.
All right.
I love this show.
So, at the top of the episode, before we kick things off and dive into the game that I'm very, very excited about, why don't you take a moment and let our lovely listeners at home know about anything you've got going on that you might want them to know about?
Yeah, hell yeah. So, I'm Fabby Garza. I'm a Mexican-American trans woman. I do a lot of things. I do game design. I've done games writing. I mostly, lately, have been doing podcasts. I say lately. Eidolon Playtest has been going on for 4 years now, which is wild to me.
That's so wild.
We started in 2020. We started pre-production in January 2020. So
That's
it's
so
been
wild.
4 years of Eidolon. And we are currently in book 2 of our Disco Ska season. I'm having a wonderful time. Really, if you're not listening to Eidolon Playtest and you like weird meta shit, and like how much you can stretch that in the medium of actual play podcasting, you should be listening to our show.
The award-winning Eidolon playtest, I must say.
The Thank you so much. Yeah. Award-deserving and award-winning now. We're no longer award. I mean, we're still award-deserving. I mean,
I think those I was gonna say they go hand in hand, but like
they should go hand in hand.
They should, but there are times where oftentimes it is not mutually exclusive in one way or the other.
So you can, if you've never listened to Eidolon, you can jump in on Disco and Ska. They're alternating seasons, or alternating shows that are basically part of one season. Disco takes place in the 70s. That's the one I'm in, about a group of Scooby-Doo-ish mystery solvers in a small town, where everyone seems to be getting some sort of weird power. And then Ska takes place in that same town in the 90s, where a group of young mystery solvers is exploring the disappearance of the founding members, who are the characters from the Disco show.
It's such a cool fucking premise.
Luke's a fucking genius. Like,
it's so
doesn't get said enough.
It's so fucking good. Like, truly, every time I hear that pitch, I'm like, what a fucking sick. Just, like, truly, like, that is just next level storytelling within the world of actual play, and, like,
it's so good.
I'm just happy that it exists, that, like, it is being done, and that Eidolon are the people that are doing it.
I love Luke. Luke's an amazing storyteller. He, like, past couple of weeks when we were getting ready to get started with book 2, he sent me, like, hey, I have some questions about some things with your character, about a scene I want to run past you, and I was like, yeah, sure. I help him like make it adjust it in a way that I feel comfortable with, and then he's like, he gave me a pitch, and I was like, I don't know about that pitch. I don't like this and this, and he's like, cool. And then like a minute later, came back with a monologue that had me crying based on the adjustments I had asked, and I'm like, you're really good at this, like.
That I love that. I love that so much. Shout out to Luke.
Yeah, if the world was a just place, Luke would be, like, a best-selling author. Like, that guy is an amazing storyteller.
I love the Eidolon episode that we did for Party of One so very much, because, like, it truly is... You see that play out in real time. You see Luke sit down and, like, hear my idea and go, crack his knuckles and be like, okay, I got this.
Luke is great. And I love Luke.
It's great.
Shout-outs. And then the only other thing I'm doing is I'm doing a show with my wife. Everyone loves to rewatch shows. We are doing a show called Ultra Hulumbo, where we are going chronologically, watching every episode of Doctor Who, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Columbo. We just finished the first season of the first Doctor. We're like in 63. We started like in... I am terrible at dates, but we've been doing a couple years. We're just finished season 1. In the meantime, while the other franchises are not there yet, we watch a bunch of Godzilla. We watch some other early Toku. We watch some El Santo movies. So it's like, it's me and her just like doing this thing for ourselves. It doesn't have any schedule other than like, oh, do you want to watch something, babe? And then we talk about it into a microphone. And it's us talking about special effects fiction, right? Mm-hmm. Like, both in like, hey, what in the 60s, in the heyday of television, what was Japan doing? What was America doing? What was Mexico doing? What was the UK doing? And how do these compare visually and story-wise? So if you're interested, the first episode's free. We have a Patreon. It's a Patreon podcast, Ultra Hulumbo. First episode's free, and then for $1 a month, you can see the hell spreadsheet of over 9,900 pages. The spreadsheet my wife has done of everything we could cover. And then once we finish the first Doctor, once we get to the second Doctor, we're going to make all of the first Doctor free, and so on and so forth.
I love that. That's great. That rule. What a fucking premise. I've said before, one of the distinct joys of making Party of One is when I get to sit down with somebody and just listen to a pitch and just like head in hand, like that fucking rules. What a fucking fucking pitch.
I now have strong opinions on Godzilla movies. That's the thing I didn't know before that I had.
That's going to be a separate conversation because we need to talk through.
Yeah, the first one's still the best. Anyway.
We gotta. Well, I mean, you're correct. You're correct in that assessment, but like, we gotta curb that, or else it's gonna be a whole ass other conversation.
Welcome to our Taku show. Ha!
Surprise, motherfuckers! You thought you were getting actual play tough shit. Speaking of actual
Jeff,
play,
what we're here to do? Yeah,
we are playing Deadly Weapons, which is a game by Adira Slattery based on Bullet by Rhetheobacter toxicus. This is a narrative game. You're going to be a girl and tell a story collaboratively set in the furious gleam of the burning ball of smog and steel that we call Earth. That's the pitch in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
The short version is that you are an avatar. You are a hunter of demons in a world that is marked by conflict. You have been chosen by a gun that refuses to leave your side. And you have been compelled by the power of prophetic dreams to hunt down the demons that walk on this earth. And by demons walk on this earth, I mean very literally they are fire-spitting, car-tossing demons. Sometimes more of a metaphorical demon, but like, there's going to be some car throwing.
No one's perfect. That's all I'm saying.
No one's perfect. And you know, like,
perfect.
Some of these demons are people going about their day, and you know, it's up to you to decide whether you follow those impulses and, you know, give yourself to the violence, or you find another path through the wilderness. So, that's the pitch. What are we thinking in terms of like what do we want to bring to the table before we dive into it? Like, what are you excited about? Are there particular themes, vibes that speak to you? Like, where's your head at before we dive into this?
So I have one big idea for the setting. And this is the thing we haven't I love these moments of like, this is the thing we haven't talked about, but it's a thing I've always been really interesting. How do you feel about Westerns?
I feel pretty great about Westerns with the caveat that Westerns are unbelievably problematic in about 1,000 different ways. But like, I also like can't resist that. Like, I love the combination. I love to root and to toot. You know.
And like the thing is, like actual Western, the actual like cowboy times. Had a lot of people of color. Had a lot of queer people. An incredible amount of queer people. Recommend. I can't remember the name of the essay, but it's a really good essay on YouTube about how queer the Wild West was actually.
The game that I recommend that I think like that does this or that digs into this really well, Haunted West, is a Western horror game that is entirely the entire premise is that it is exclusively the stories of marginalized people like in the West. And it's very specific about that. It was by Chris Spivey, who wrote Harlem Underground and Harlem Unbound. And it's just all of that space, like it's all that vibe, and it's very good. And so like it's a thing. That's a thing that like I that is the vibe that I latch onto.
Yeah. So I grew up in the border. I think you know this. I grew up in Matamoros, Mexico, across the border from the U.S., Brownsville, Texas. And like Westerns are just like a thing. Like both American and Mexican Westerns. That's just like that's on the TV. You see them all the time. And, like, I have this thing of, like, I want to like Westerns. I really want to. I love a lot of things about it, but it's always like, oh, what? The one Mexican character that you acknowledge as Mexican that's not played by a white guy in brown face? Because that happened way too many times.
Often to most of the time.
Yeah, the one character is usually drunk or like, fat, and it's, like, a comedic relief and the butt of the jokes. And, like, that's some of the stuff that I'm like, man, and a lot of people don't even acknowledge that. I remember, I can't remember, it was a more recent Mystery Science Theater episode when they brought it back, where they did a Western, and they were just like, saying the same racist jokes than the movie was to the Mexican character, and I was like, okay, come on. But like at the same time, that always fascinated me. I always loved this images of that I saw like in diners and growing up in Mexico of like this vaqueros and like with the big hat and the ponchos and like that stuff. And when I was reading this game, that's where my mind went.
Sure.
So like Old West, we can decide what old means. But like I'm seeing a lot of dust, a lot of wilderness.
I love this. I love this. This is great. I want to throw you a second vibe to mash up with this a little. Because like I'm loving this, but like when I think about this game and I think about like this game and a Western aesthetic, my brain goes very. It's funny that you mentioned the 60s. Like my brain goes very 60s and 70s is where my brain goes, and like I want to maybe propose like 1970s neo-Western. Almost noir aesthetics.
Yeah, like this is not a 70s show. There are a lot of movies from that era, but like when you say that, the thing that comes to my mind is something like No Country for Old Men.
That's the vibe.
Energy?
That is exactly where my head is at. Or like I was thinking like Easy, like something like I was talking to my wife about like Easy Rider.
Yeah.
That kind of like there like the big vibe of like there's one road and a single power line. You know what I mean? Like you get the one like power or a cable tower. That's the one. You get one cable tower and like a long road. That's the and everything else is just pulling on that like that same aesthetic is where my brain is at.
And it's like there are cities, but like if you decide to go left instead of follow the highway, you're just gonna get desert or forest or wilderness for days because we're still. That's the moment where we're still like mid expansion and we hadn't like. There's still that, but like it was way more prominent. Like especially, I'm thinking Texas because I've lived all my life either in Mexico or in Texas, and it's like. Some of these cities that exist now around bigger cities like Austin or San Antonio, they didn't used to be there. It used to be nothing a couple like decades ago. And then they slowly started building up. So like there was still very much, especially near the border of like, cool, if you don't follow the highway, you're just going to be in the desert or in like wilderness for weeks.
It's nothing but oblivion on either side of a 2-lane road.
Yeah. And if you're lucky, a train passes there.
Yeah.
And if you're really lucky, the train is more than just like equipment or construction equipment, or it's more than just what's it called? It's if you're really lucky, it's a passenger train.
Yeah, there's
usually
people,
not.
There's people on the train, and it's not just freight cars all the way down.
Yeah, freight cars, because that's usually what you got. I grew up next to a train tracks. Like the train would wake me up at night. I
lived in Oklahoma for 2 years when I was a kid, and to this day, Jen has to point out to me when like the train in Philly, when she'll have to like call my attention to it because like your brain gets so attuned to it. Like it just becomes such white noise that like we'll be sitting around and she'll go like, "Do you hear that?" And I'm like, "No."
I grew up right, like when I say right by the border, there was one street and then the river where I grew up until I was like 15 and we moved because we couldn't afford it anymore. But like I grew up in like a rented apartment like right next to the border for most of my life, and there was a train there because that's where the goods came in and left. And like I grew up all my life hearing the train, and it wasn't until and I never had been in a train until I was like 16, and I was in Europe for unrelated reasons that I ever boarded a train. Like imagine going most of your life like that's the train, and the train does not take people. The train
It's just cargo. It's just the
It
gigantic
takes things from the
cargo cars.
maquiladoras to America, or things that the maquiladoras need from America to here, and that's it.
That's it. Like, and they're just these like it's one of those.
Listen, if there were gonna be demons anywhere, it's in those fucking trains and those train yards.
The visual that I get, it's not a literal train car, but like jumps out to me, especially when I think about seeing those trains, especially when I was a kid and you get that kid's perspective, is like the fucking sand crawler from Star Wars, like just that big gigantic brick like on the horizon. Like that's the train aesthetic that pops into my head.
God. And my favorite one is like, oh wow, look at that. That's a really new train car. Next to a rusted one,
just
still in the same tray.
Hunk of
next
junk.
to one with a big graffiti on it. And I'm like, yes, beautiful print.
Love it. Yes.
So I think we're in similar places.
I think we're in the yeah. And this has been great because this is actually like really, really
like the idea that I want to have is that for most of the game, whenever it's not night, the sun is unbearable.
Oh, 100%. It's like gigantic, and it's red is the color that it is always in the sky. This like red orange beaming in the sky, and it is just like you see those heat you see the heat squiggles on the horizon pretty much at all times.
The hometown I'm from, we have most of the year 90% humidity. When I was living in San Antonio and I would go back over there, because I haven't been there in a while, I would go back over there and I would open the car, the humidity would hit my face. Like when I opened the car from like being in air conditioned from San Antonio, which is hot in San Antonio, but like going all the way to Brownsville and then opening the car door to a hot, humid day was like getting slapped by the humidity. It felt like walking into mug. And then you get used to it. But like that's the energy I want, like humid, uncomfortable. You're sweaty in places you don't want to be sweaty in, and the sun's there all the time.
Sorry, I'm just writing down one note.
The magic of editing.
That's what it's all about. Okay, yeah, I've got some notes here. I'm very excited. We've got such a good aesthetic. I think that we've hit a vibe that feels fucking great. I'm all in on this. So let's go ahead and make a character. We'll walk through the character creation steps. I know you mentioned that you had some ideas. I'm just going to ask you
two concepts. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions in order. Just to kind of walk through the character creation process. It's pretty quick and simple. A lot of this game is very lightweight, very easy to kind of dive in. So, we are going to make an avatar, and the first thing we're going to do is describe what our character looks like. Reading from the book, you are a girl. What does the mirror show? Start by describing 2 immediate things that people notice when meeting you. Don't focus on caricature or limit yourself only to physical characteristics. Consider how you choose to present yourself, and then describe something that you hide from the world, something you only show people you trust. Consider why you deny this, what will cause you to embrace it, and then give us a description of what that character looks like.
So, I'm going to give you my 2 overall concepts, and you can feel free to get rid of this if it doesn't flow well. And you tell me which one you're more interested on.
Yeah.
Because they're very different. One of them is, and I was like looking at the drives as well. So one of them would be a silence drive hunter who is... the thing I'm thinking about him, he is a girl, about him is that very deep in denial, very deep in I can't even think about my gender, even though I think about it all the time. Big bushy beard, quiet, not a full-on sniper rifle, but a rifle. Likes to shoot at, that would be the gun, likes to shoot at distance. Very antisocial. That's the vibe. The other one is a nun with a gun.
I mean,
a nun with a shotgun. I'm sorry, it's a nun with a shotgun.
I mean, like,
listen, I love both my children equally, but
I love both of these children a lot, but like,
it just depends how do you want this game to be? Do you want this game to be like, we're gonna deal with some heavy shit, and it's gonna be depressive, and it's gonna be lonely, and it's gonna be... Because you don't have to be up to doing that game.
Sure.
That game's a lot.
No, and here's my thought process.
Yeah.
Here's where my head is at.
Or do you want to blaspheme a little?
I think my head is leaning towards the second concept, not because the first one doesn't, like, sound incredible. I think the first concept is calling for, like... is calling for a group, is calling for a full table, right? You know what I mean?
Those character interactions.
I think it's one that is really, I think that is a character concept that thrives, because that gives you a story to play out over character interactions with other avatars. Cool. Whereas I think the latter concept is a good standalone. We're gonna blow some shit up and have and blow off some steam.
Oh, okay. Then let's fucking go. I'm not even gonna tell you the drive until we get there.
Do it. That sounds great.
Cool.
So describe to me our nun with a gun.
So cool. Two immediate things people notice when being used: the habit. They see the habit.
Sure.
It's hard to miss that. The second thing they see is probably like that the habit's dirty. It's not pristine.
Sure.
Like I'm not saying it's like covered in blood, but like, you know, it hasn't have any care. Like, it gets washed, but it hasn't had any, like, anyone sewing it up for a place that's gone torn, or maybe there's little bits missing. Those are the two, like, maybe it's one. That's one, because it's a physical characteristic. The other thing would probably be, just like a very sincere... This is the type of person that if you ask her a question, you can have a conversation for an hour.
Sure.
She'll talk to you. Small talk. She loves small talk. She's not gonna push it on you.
But the second that you've reached the conversation, you're an hour in.
You have allowed her a conversational partner. You have agreed to this contract that we're gonna talk now. And I think she can talk your ear off. Sure.
Love that a lot.
And then the thing that she hides from the world, I think the thing that she hides is that she is not a nun.
Love that. Great.
Yeah, that habit stolen. And she was dealing with a lot of gender stuff at the time, and she decided this is a very comfortable facade to wear in public. She's not even religious. Well, minus all the demon stuff, but she's not even religious.
Sure. Love that.
And she does put up that facade of, like, you know, a lot less questions are asked of you if you're a nun than if you're not a nun.
Yeah. People see the habit and they assume that you are walking the straight and narrow because you're wearing the habit.
They don't even check your purse for your shotgun.
Speaking of, let's talk about your gun.
Yeah.
So tell me about the form that your gun has taken. Tell me about the two physical embellishments, the materials, the process, how it feels to the touch, the sounds, what makes it new, unique. And then talk to me about the single mysterious aspect to the gun. Objects, feelings, concepts not associated with them, surprising contradictions. Just give me the pitch of your shotgun.
So if you see the shotgun, it looks like a sawed-off. At a distance, it looks like a sawed-off shotgun. A little bit chunkier than you would expect. Maybe a little bit fatter than you would expect a sawed-off shotgun. That's fine. But it looks like a shitty sawed-off shotgun. It doesn't look special or anything. The other physical embellishment is, like, if you were to try to look at something special, is that the handle is pink. It's like the actual shotgun looks really kind of rusted and, like, not taken care of, but a pristine pink handle. And then the mysterious aspect is that if you actually went and grabbed the gun, it is somehow a revolver shotgun, and you're not sure how that works. Why is it? You look at the front and it has six things, and it has a little chain, and it moves.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yes. How does that work? Don't worry about it. No one gets that close unless they need to.
I mean, at that point, the thought of how that works is probably the last thought you're going to have.
Yeah. That is. I'm like, oh, how is that? Boom.
Oh, fuck. Yes, good. Okay. So, now that we've got to know your gun, we know your avatar. Now we get to know your drive. Your drive contains of information about your avatar, your outlook, some of your special abilities, as well as cascades, which are things that happen if you become overwhelmed with either hope or doom. And then so we'll talk through what your drive is, and then we will get you to start hunting.
My drive is pleasure.
Love it. Read me the if you have the book in front of you. Read me the little
right
paragraph.
Here.
Read me the first paragraph about pleasure.
When you hold your gun in your hand, you know that your life is fleeting. Might as well have some fun with it before it's over. Who cares about anything else?
You begin with one bullet on your person. You used to have more. Who did you use them to kill, and why did each feel better than the last?
God. How dark do you want me to go?
You go where you want to go.
Yeah,
and
you can veto any of these.
Yeah. We've got the disclaimer to us and the audience. We are, this is an open conversation. We can pause and revise at any time. We have safety. We have more formal safety tools like cut and break in play. But the most important safety tool we have is that we are close friends for a very long time and can happily talk through things.
I trust you that if I pull some shit, if it's actually going to bother you, you're going to tell me and it's going to be fine.
Exactly. I feel exactly the same way.
So, you used to have more. I used to have 6, obviously.
Sure.
I used to have 6. It had 6 bullets, and I have 1 left. Who did I use them to kill, and why did each one feel better than the last? So it was mom, dad, first boyfriend, first girlfriend. Each feel better than the last. It might be. I think it might be in order. I think it was definitely like person who harassed her.
Mm-hmm.
Person that like the first 2 were like people who harassed her. Like maybe with different increments, but like people that made her life difficult, and she was like, you know what, get rid of you. Maybe they were demons.
Once the gun presented itself. I mean, this is to quote the intro from the game, the section Adira wrote the Adira's intro to the game. This is a game about guns, and what they represented is not a game about good guys with guns stopping bad ones. Yep. Guns are not the solution to society's problems, but once you have a gun, it is the proverbial hammer, and then suddenly you have a solution to some problems.
Yeah, it was probably like coworker, boss, and then like person that they were cheating on their wife with, like guy they were cheating on their wife with, wife, mom, and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And these were all people that hurt her deeply.
Sure.
Hurt her to points I don't even want to describe.
Right.
You can think about that, whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
It's people that she doesn't think like killing is like this wonderful thing and just go, but she does not feel bad for killing each and every one of them.
Sure. 100%.
People that deeply broke her trust in very personal, very powerful ways that led her to, what leads you to kind of be on the run in wearing a nun outfit and leaving everything behind and pursuing pleasures.
Right. And so with that, we find ourselves out in the desert, one single highway. We are going to pick up in media res. We're going to pick up moments before a climax, and then we'll see a second hunt played through. In part because I have a bunch of different demons that I want to throw at you.
Let's fucking go.
It's gotta be. I wasn't sure where I was gonna set this, but I think it is a roadside diner that is adjacent to a train yard. So the visual is like diner, one single 2-lane road. We see it intersects with a railroad, and those big looming train cars, but they are all off of the track and like not in disuse. So they are just like big looming shells littering this desert lot. Um you have arrived here. You have hunted a demon you have hunted a demon called Powder Keg. Powder Keg is among this train yard in this you have hunted him to this location. You are stalking through these like abandoned train cars. What does it look like as you kind of like peer around these spaces and poke around this abandoned space?
I think at first she was definitely doing the okay, in case anyone sees me, I'm gonna look like I'm lost. I'm gonna look like, oh, hey, obviously don't belong here. I'm lost and confused. And as she went in deeper and saw that there was less less of that it was maybe she was truly alone with her and her target, her prey here. I think she lets the facade slip. Her hand probably leaves her purse with the shotgun in tow, and she starts scoping all these abandoned train cars, both for her target and also like, could I stay the night here? This seems like maybe is this one? Is there like some? Is this one look comfortable to sleep in tonight and save myself a hotel?
Sure.
Seems like there's not a lot of people here, so doing a little bit of both. Like, yeah, she's here. She gets a job. Well, a job to do, as much as demon killing when it appears in your dreams is a job. But also like, you have if the food at the diner is good nearby, she could stay here like a week, maybe. That sounds nice.
And so with this scene, we're going to play through this scene because I think that like as you are walking through these train cars, we also get the like shooting you from a distance as we see the shadow passing through as Powder Keg is moving through is also kind of stalking you through the same space. So how scene play works in Deadly Weapons is we begin by setting the mood. This is a phrase, a concept, a genre of music, whatever we want the vibe to be in this place. It is the soundtrack in the background, the tint of the lights in the room, the tenor of a voice. And in this moment, this is... How do I even want to describe... This is tense. This is tension. This is tension. This is tension and release. That's the phrasing that I'm using. This is tension and release. The reason I'm using that phrasing I will reveal in a moment as we get into the scene. And now I'm going to set the risk. Risk is only needed when shit hits the fan, dramatic violence breaks out, or the players attempt something foolhardy. Risk is in 3 different states. The state that it starts in depends on things like mood and actions. We are starting the three risks are truth, dare, and double dog, which is great. And we are starting at dare. Things are dangerous. Avatars might get stabbed, feelings might get hurt, and resistance is at every turn. Unless you are getting help or doing something you're especially skilled at, you must take a doom to succeed at a risky action. And I think the scene that the moment I'm going to throw at you and have you react at this moment is a barrel. Like we see the two of you are mutually stalking one another. The tension is building, right? Like we're seeing that the shadows, cast off of these train cars as this big red sun is burning overhead. And there is a moment where like you peer out, you walk into like a fairly open space and we see a shadow come over you and you look up just in time to see a barrel flying through the sky at you, and halfway and like as it is overhead, that barrel is starting to explode. You're not sure why it's starting to explode, but like there is an explosion about to happen over your head. What do you do?
I think I draw myself to the nearest, probably the one I was just looking at, empty cargo train and try to put as much material between me and the explosion. So, like, just throwing myself behind one or two walls or whatever's there. I don't think I'm gonna end up scot-free here, but if I can avoid as much of the front burden of this explosion, I think that'd be the best for me.
I think that is going to be risk. I think that is a risky action, is jiving away from this, and I think that is going to give you a doom. Doom is the knowledge that we're all fucked, that the world is shit, and that everyone you love won't make it either. You take doom when acting in risky situations or giving in to malaise and denial. You can gain up to 10 doom. If you gain an 11th, you cascade. If that happens, we'll explain what cascading is. It is basically
such a good use of the word cascade. Shoutouts. Adir is wonderful. Shoutouts.
Love it. I love this. I love everything in this game a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, because I think what happens is, like, you dive into the train car, the explosion happens, and, like, you are rattled as the train car is knocked onto its side and basically, like, flipped upside down. So, like, you are smashing into walls. Partially the door is buried into, like, the exit to the train car is buried now into the earth, and you might have to, like, crawl to dig your way out, and you are hearing, like, shuffling outside as Powder Keg is, like, going back to kind of running between train cars.
Yeah. I think definitely a lot of trying to, like, check my person, assess the situation, look at this new fucking shithole of a situation I ended up with. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I thought everything closed for a second, but it's just Chrome being weird. Everything, look at my situation and be like, okay, is there any exits whatsoever? Any windows? Anything where I can throw myself in or out? Or do I need to barricade myself in an area that I think, one, will survive an explosion, two, I'll be able to hide in case he comes in and try to get him before he gets me, or get them before they get me.
Okay, sure. I think that that's not immediately going to invite risk, and I think that what is, like, I think that there's a moment of calm, and then you hear the roof of the train car getting ripped open, right? Like, you see the outline of Powder Keg jumping down and, like, throwing. I imagine this is a train. This is a freight car, so there's big boxes, right? Like, and I think
the steel of, like, a can opener, basically, like.
And I imagine. So what happens here is, like, jam. You see him like moving, shifting around, and you see him close his fist, punch into a box, and you watch that box burn and spark and then explode, and he kind of stands there as shrapnel, and he is like this is where I reveal his demon power is that he can make things explode. And he just makes this crate explode, and he's doing that to kind of, like, either draw you out or just obliterate as much cover as he can to figure out where you are.
I think I just, like, stand up from where I was and blast fire. Yeah, I don't know if this will kill or not, but I'm just, like, at the very least, blinds him, bothers him, and I can go past them.
I will ask you, well, this is an important question. Do you want this to kill him? Because the rule in Deadly Weapons, if you point your gun at someone and pull the trigger spending a bullet, they die. Yeah. Everyone dies the same. Human or demon, it's just the demons it doesn't stick so good. So, does Powder Keg die?
I love games. Here's a
games
question.
Games are good.
Who gets to decide that? Fabby or my character, who I haven't said her name. Her name is Hermana, of course, because she's a nun. Hermana Corazón de la Sinceridad. Sister Heart of the Sincerity. That's her chosen name. Don't worry about what her name was before. She's not a sister. She just like this. That's the name she uses.
Good.
Corazon
Good
to the people she doesn't end up killing.
Good name.
But like, here's the question: because if it is Fabby, I don't think this kills. If it is Corazon, she wants to get rid of this person.
Well, that's
this
I
demon.
think it is the. I mean, the question is ultimately, is Corazon pointing the gun and dropping a bullet into the chamber and firing it at Powder Keg?
That's a good question.
Like, that is, if that is the case,
everything says yes to me, because like we immediately started in a. It's not like I can talk. We can have a nice time, and then maybe the bullet comes out. But like, if we're starting with aggression, and also I think she is worried about her own safety here, because this doesn't seem like, oh, we're toying around. No, this feels like, oh, actual danger. I think she is shooting to kill.
Okay. Then you have spent your bullet.
Yeah, I'm out of bullets.
And we see you cock the bullet. And we see, we see the revolver chamber click into place. That bullet falls into place. Spark, explosion, and splattered gunk on the side of a train car. I think as it happens, like, in Aqua Teen Hunger Force, when an object lands and they don't want to animate the object anymore, so it's just an explosion graphic. As individual chunks of Powder Keg hit the wall of this train car and like body parts fall, each of them explodes in a tiny burst, and it's just a like crackling of a chain of fireworks, each one like hitting in a different spot and then popping, right? And you are standing there, the sound of this shotgun echoing dozens of times over because you are in this cramped train car as you stand over this body.
I think she actually, like, the smell and the sound and all this stuff doesn't face her. She kind of like, okay, well, that was fun. Like, I got a little fireworks show, the dinner and the meal type energy. I think she just smiles at whatever stain has been left behind, takes a deep breath, and starts figuring out how the fuck she's gonna get out of this one. And by this one, I mean this train car.
So some time passes, which means that we reflect. You gain a point of hope. Hope is the knowledge the world might just be okay and that you could be happy here and that there's a place for you. You gain hope after opposing a demon or sharing an affirming moment with another. So you gain a point of hope for opposing this demon. And some time passes, which means that your hope and doom come together and become another bullet. The more doom and hope that you have, any leftovers would be cleared away except for one, which you would take forward with you. But I think you only have... No, you still have one doom. You took 2 doom in this one, I think.
I take a doom? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you took a doom, like, laying low in this train car as the explosions happen.
Yeah, I got a bullet and a doom.
You've got 1 bullet, 1 doom. And time has passed. We find ourselves in the diner. What's Corazon eating tonight?
Ooh, I think tonight she's having a really greasy, like, triple burger of, like, give me 3 patties of meat, 3 things of cheese, throw some bacon on there, no veggies.
Sure.
Some mustard, maybe a little bit of mayo if you're nasty, ketchup only on the fries, a basket of fries, and just, like, going to town on this. And a glass of water, of course,
Yeah.
Try to keep healthy.
Love it. Anything to drink?
I don't think... Does this diner sell alcohol? I think she's drinking... I think she's having a glass of water with the meal.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also... If this diner sells alcohol, she's having a beer.
I think that you've got like a warm bottle of beer. I don't think they've got a tap.
Yeah.
I think it is they've cracked a warm bottle in front of you.
Yeah, it's like whatever they had.
And it's warm, it's a little flat, but it's beer. And sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, Corazon is doing the Mexican thing that I do all the time. of grabbing the salt shaker, and this is like a random beer they have here. It's not like a Mexican beer. Grabbing the salt shaker and putting it on the rim, and also a little bit inside, making it taste better, and just like, and drinking this warm beer in this cold water, trying to make it work somehow, and having this very greasy burger.
And the waitress drops off your food, drops off your beer, turns back around to get someone else a drink, and you watch as immediately all hell kind of breaks loose a little bit. Namely that the soda pump, it kind of explodes a little bit. Like the soda gun, she goes to spray it and it just sprays wild. And like there's a moment, and there is another, like a moment where you hear the psst of soda spraying everywhere. And as that is happening, you also hear the glass door to the desserts cracks, and everyone else except for you is watching the soda gun spray everywhere, and it knocks over the coffee pot spills everywhere. It's a whole mess, but you also hear this glass door crack and break and shatter a little bit. But it's also like markedly far away from this soda pump that is malfunctioning.
I think this is very much one of those like, man, I just wanted to eat a burger. I just wanted to have a beer, a shitty beer, a glass of water, and a burger. Can I have my cake and eat it too? I think she kind of like doesn't hunker down, but like keeps seeing the burger, but now her eyes are fixed on if she can see the glass that cracked, and if not, her eyes are fixed in that general direction, and she's seeing the burger, and she's like, I think in her brain, she's going like, I hope the waitress doesn't die. She's cute. I was going to flirt with her, but I was very hungry, so I didn't have the energy. I was getting the energy. God damn it.
What you see is someone in a denim jacket that is underneath a hood, like a hoodie, like a thin hoodie, but a hoodie, which is unusual clothing for the desert. Hood pulled up. You see them move their hand away from the glass. They reach in. They grab an entire Boston cream pie. They look around and like slink off through the dining area into the the diner banquet event space where they sit the large table.
You know what? Good for them. Honestly, go get your pie. If more demons just took a pie instead of the other shit, I dreamt of this demon? Is this someone that I recognize, or is this just
Here's what I'm gonna say, and here's how this plays out.
Yeah.
There is a moment where the two of you lock eyes, and you see from under the hood gills. Very prominent fish-like gills. You can tell for an instant that this is a demon. Specifically, there are three kinds of demons. There are Hellions, who are brutal and powerful. They're what people think of when they think of the word monster. Powder Keg is a Hellion. There are Dukes, who are grand and controlling. They hold positions of terrestrial power. They are businessmen and feudal lords. And then there are goblins. Goblins are unobtrusive and menial, usually looking like a normal person with just a few telltale demonic signs. They tell tales of coming here for a better life, but their presence glitches the fabric of the world around them. It causes technical glitches. It causes machines like soda pumps to go haywire. So you lock eyes with this goblin who has grabbed the pie and just like slinks off, and you have this moment of like, you know what? Enjoy. And I'm gonna give you a point of hope for this.
Yeah, I think she very much does the thing where she like nods, kind of looks down to her fries, kind of like, some fries if you want some fries, but doesn't say anything. Keeps eating her burger. Listen, do you like you're not blowing this place up. That's a win in my book, and I don't have to get up. Woo!
That is a textbook point of hope. Even if you did
Yeah.
not speak directly, you have had a moment of personal connection. And I'm gonna say that feels exactly right. So time passes again, which means that your hope and doom turn into a second bullet, which unlocks
Ooh.
an ability
Yeah.
with 2 bullets
If-
on your person. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Read it out.
No, go for it. Go for it.
With 2 bullets on your person, if you spend an hour meditating with your gun when you're awake, you cannot feel pain as long as your gun is making contact with your bare skin.
That is so fucking hot. I'm sorry. Let me drink this Monster here real quick. That's so fucking sexy. I don't even like guns, and that's so fucking sexy.
I love this game a whole lot.
Hmm?
And the thing is, all of the abilities are that cool, and that sexy. Like, Adira, this game rips.
I decided the only one I was going to look at, because I wanted to get the surprise for the rest, I was only going to look at what you did every time you fired a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's going to kind of make my vibe of these characters. And I'm so happy that was a surprise.
So,
that's great.
So time has passed. You exit the diner. You find as you exit, like, back by the train cars. I think even by the one that you dug your way out of, right? Where there's the surest sign that some shit went down. You find a single slice on a plate of Boston cream pie.
Oh, yeah.
You
fucking yeah.
You settle in for the night.
Yeah.
And you awake in the middle of the night with a start to find your shotgun inches from your face, the barrel pointing directly into your eyes.
Morning.
It backs up. You stand up, you look around, you peek out through the you can peek out through the hole in the top of this train car, and you see green clouds.
Okay, then. I'm dreaming, huh?
And you peer out through. You are standing outside of the train car, and you look around, and it is thick green smog, and the sun. The first time in that you can remember that you don't see the sun, but it is because it has been choked out by smog, and this entire train yard is paved over, and the diner is in rubble, and everything is warped and twisted, and suddenly you are standing on train tracks with a gleaming silver bullet train bearing down on top of you, and you see standing on top of that train is a man with a handlebar mustache and a full 3-piece suit leaning on a cane. And the train barrels down on top of you, crushes you beneath it, and you wake up in the train car. You were, in fact, dreaming. This was the prophetic dream that there is a demon nearby.
3-piece suit, handlebar mustache. Maybe something to do with a train. Could be more metaphorical, could not. I think she's doing this as she's waking up. Like, just talking to herself as she's, like, getting dressed. She probably has a bottle of water she got from somewhere, using that to basically take a quick morning shower with the bottle of water, cleaning her head, her face, armpits, whatever. I imagine in her purse, it's like she has the shotgun, she has lip gloss, she has one thing of deodorant, and that's it. And maybe a tiny other thing that she's picked up here and there, like the bottle of water. So she's like, is waking up and doing this routine that she's done hundreds of times now, thinking about the dream. But like, okay, so 3-piece suit, handlebar mustache. At least it wasn't a full beer. I have a thing for full beer, so I won't feel that bad. And like absentmindedly, like cleaning herself up and getting ready
and
for
I
the
think
day.
As you are kind of absent-mindedly cleaning yourself up, like, we see that train track alongside of the diner. And you hear it before you see it. You hear a screech. We talked about it earlier. You don't hear the train much anymore. It's not that it doesn't run, it's just that you don't really hear. Your brain doesn't process it anymore. Your brain processes this train screech. This is sharper and faster and louder you hear it from you hear the echo of it, and it is burning out loud. It is crying out into the eternal desert as it creaks to a halt next to this diner, and beings, demons, goblins, many of them in conductors' outfits, some of them in like police uniforms, come like tumbling out of it, shuffling into and around the diner, and doing all manner of work. This train car of the future has barreled into your space.
I think by this point, I'm like on top of my shitty broken train car that I've been sleeping on, feet dangling over the edge, eating whatever leftover pie I had from last night, looking at this whole mess. The numbers are not with me, so I probably don't want to get in there. And I don't even see 3-piece suit handlebar yet, so I think right now I don't want to get anywhere near that diner, sadly, because I would love some breakfast.
I mean, they'd make a good like diner. Truly, this is both Jeff.
Breakfast.
This is Jeff and the game master of this game. Diner breakfast.
God, when you're at your lowest in life,
diner breakfast is there for you.
If you can get like 3 eggs, your choice of meat cut, hash browns, pancakes if you're feeling fancy, all in one plate.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Baby. What else do you need in life at that point?
That heals your soul, is what that does.
That gives you a point of hope.
That would give you a point of hope.
Yeah, it makes you think life is worth living.
And this train car pulls up. Goblins, train staff like flood the diner and the surrounding area, and you just watch. And the train for a while just sits. And we see one of those long time-lapse shots where you're watching and the sun goes down and you're still kind of watching and sitting. The lights on this train car are beaming. They have blotted out the stars in the sky. And
I think during this time, I've been like quietly meditating with my gun.
Sure.
Holding it. I think holding it like if it were a neck pillow against the back of my neck.
Sure. And you sit and you meditate, and when you come out of that meditation, you see on the other side of the diner, from behind where you've been watching the train, an oil well has appeared, and it is billowing smoke. It has struck oil, and it has been constructed and built overnight, and the lights of the train just glow a little brighter, and you can see that some of that crude just spilling out of this like very productive oil well.
Progress, huh?
And you see, it is that moment just before sunrise when you catch a glimpse of your dream made flesh. You see the man with the handlebar mustache and the 3-piece silver suit standing on top of the front car of the train. Just like looking in your direction, but you may as well not exist, just watching this, and you swear that you see the gas and the smog billowing in his direction into him. You swear that he is calling it to himself.
I like close my eyes hard, take a deep breath. I hate these like nothing to hang around with, nothing to talk with, nothing to flirt with, nothing to drink a little, do a little.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fucking oil baron, huh? I I think she's going to leave that position,
And
that place she's in, and kinda. I think she's gonna walk up to this guy and see where it goes from there.
I think as you walk up, you pass the outside of the diner, and you're feeling the dirt and the sand under your feet, and then suddenly it is blacktop. Suddenly it is pavement and it is blacktop, and you look over, and this diner is not in ruins. This diner is a multi-restaurant food court.
Yeah. God damn it.
It has entirely changed. It is an entire food court now.
You have to get lucky with those. Get the good one. Ugh, it's a whole hassle. They don't even sell breakfast and food. I think she has her hand gripping her weapon, but inside her purse.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of just strolls casually towards this guy. Yeah, waiting to get close enough.
And
close enough that if she were to say something, he would hear.
You get close, and I'm gonna say, a goblin conductor peeks out, and this, goblin peeks out, flicks his fingers, and effectively, fireballs appear in the sky. Many goblins have the ability to conjure and create flame, but they appear in the sky in the place that, gas lamps would. Peeks out, and you can see, Peeks out has his conductor hat pulled back with a third eye in the middle of his head. Peeks out, boarding the train?
Mayhaps? Where are you heading?
Making all stops anywhere and everywhere along this great American frontier.
Yeah. Sticking around long in town or heading out soon?
Sticking around as long as there's work that needs done, we'll be here. And when the work is done, we roll out to the next destination on the great renovation tour, seeing all of the sights that there are to see and making all the changes that there are to make.
Yeah, it's a good work. You get paid good?
It's not about the pay. It's about making the world a better place. One change at a time.
Yeah, you're a true believer.
And not many jobs will give you a chance to make a difference in the world.
I hear that. I think she, not, turns her back towards him, but, rests her back against the train, so they're both looking out the same direction.
And I think he, hops down off of the step of the train, kind of, hops down, immediately jumps back into, full upright position, and then joins, and then also joins you, takes... stands at attention for a moment, flops back onto the train, pulls out safety question, visual descriptions of smoking.
Yeah, I was about to invoke that. So
great,
you're good. We're in the same fucking. Good.
Pulls out a cigarette, flicks with one. Does my favorite thing in the world? Flicks one finger, pops it, does that. Offers you a cigarette as well.
I with my non-gun holding hand. I pick up the cigarette and lean forward.
Lights it with his finger.
Yeah. I think she's full on in between the pointer and the index finger. Full on going into her mouth.
What about you? What brings you out here?
Traveling. Had a job. Finished the job. In between jobs, It seemed like a nice place. Nice little diner. Made great burgers.
Shame. It seemed like a quaint enough little place, but now there's options. Now there's, and you kind of see, and you look, and there are cars in the parking lot. Now there's customers, and there's options, and there's more. Isn't that better?
It's more always better.
That's what he tells us.
Yeah, your boss, el patron.
El patron. Mr. Bargroon. He says more is better. He says more is where it's all headed, and we have a chance to help people along the way,
Does he treat you good?
Oh, yeah. Free food, free room and board. Okay. You see all of the sights, honestly. Not a bad
you
way to
know,
live.
does he ever, hurt one of your guys if they're a little bit lazy or a little bit slower than everyone else?
And he looks around and he kind of crushes out the cigarette.
Yeah.
I mean, we do our best work, and there's consequences, but that's it. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're so. I actually admire what you're doing. You're helping all these people continue get work, and I like the coin stuff in life, but I understand progress. Progress is a road, though. This keeps going forward. I'm just saying, maybe there's a chance for a more equal arrangement when you and your coworkers, without someone at the top, where you'll make your decisions equally. You decide where to go together as a group. You decide where to improve as a group. Because I love this little thing you have going. I just think the top is a little heavy, if you know what I mean.
And he stands for a second, and you see, take a point of hope, very specifically, as you see the light turning on in his eyes. It's like, huh,
I'm just saying, go to the food court, have some food, and then enjoy it. And when you come back, maybe talk to your employees and don't talk to your coworkers. Equal. And maybe when you come back, it'll be much easier for you to.
And he kind of like raises an eyebrow, and he's like, I think we're gonna get some. I was gonna say breakfast, but they don't do breakfast in the food.
They don't do breakfast. There's a nice little sandwich shop.
I mean, that's gonna be. It's fine. It's like,
yeah, you can't fuck it that much up.
Everything's got avocado, and it's just like not everything needs it.
White people don't know how to use avocado. That's what I've always been saying in my life.
I think like gestures to the habit. Your hand to your boss's hand, right?
Hallelujah.
And he kind of hops back on the train. You see another one of the conductors walk by. He grabs them by their shoulder, whispers in their ear, walks off, gives you the tip of the cap, and you see like from various train cars, like a few, like a bunch of the conductors and staff kind of like walking all casually and as though to not be seen walking together towards this food court.
I am like counting the seconds. The moment I see the last one of them cross the threshold, this guy is gonna be dead if I can help it.
I'm gonna set the mood. The mood here is cathartic.
Yeah.
The mood here is cathartic. The risk level is double dog. The risk level is all risky actions automatically give a doom. The demons clear one hell grasp. Hell grasps are guaranteed successes a demon can take. As I think you see that close, we hear the music change. What do you do?
The problem with a shotgun is that shotgun is a short range weapon. Even my shotgun. So I am going to calmly but methodically walk forward towards where I know this demon is. Finish my cigarette as I'm walking, flick the ash away, throw it on the ground, stomp on it as I go around. And the moment I know I'm within distance to this guy, my plan is to raise my gun and pull the trigger.
And I think before you do that, you get close, and you get close to where you know he is, but you also know that he's on top of this train car, and he's just standing, breathing all of this in, when in front of you comes down an escalator, a full-on automate, like it just slides down in front of you as though you are being invited.
I take it.
That's that.
I like curse myself, and
that is for sure a doom. I think that is for sure.
Yeah, it sure is.
And you get up there, and You go for your gun, you start to raise it.
I've been holding it the whole time.
You got it. You go to pull the trigger and your whole body seizes.
Yeah.
Seizes. There's an electrical pain that surges through your entire body. I am using one of Vargroon's hell gasps to automatically succeed here and pause and hold you at bay for just long enough for him to monologue. Yep. And you are spasming the whole time that he says any of this.
I think I'm Terry Funk selling. I'm like going down on one knee in full body selling.
And he has taken a seat on like a very nice fake velvet is what I would describe it as, like polyester velvet chair, and he's sitting. Now I reckon that you are about to pull that trigger and send me, at least for a little while, back into, well, the place that your boss made that he doesn't like to talk about. Is that right?
Early retirement.
Early retirement. I love that. That's great. Listen, I'm understanding of our situation. I recognize that the second that I cease what I'm doing, and I understand this is not the politest way to invite you to a conversation, but I have a feeling that the second that I snap my hands and you stop going through it, our conversation is over.
I understand. No hard feelings.
No hard feelings whatsoever. I mean, mutually. You're going to pull that trigger, no hard feelings, but I wanted to at least give you the proposition. This beauty, and he slaps the roof of the train car, is not going anywhere. Well, I guess it's going forward. It needs someone at the helm. It's either going to go straight on its own, and then who knows where it goes, who knows what hell this thing institutes, or there can be someone sitting in this space, leading a good life, the life of a manager, a boss, a pioneer of business, takes it where it needs to go. I have philanthropically agreed to this arrangement. Before you pull that trigger, consider if maybe this is a business opportunity you would like to pursue. And I think he kind of sits back, snaps his fingers, and now you are free of the electrical pain.
I appreciate that. Just catch my breath.
Sure. Of course. Take your time. Take your time. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going somewhere in a moment, but,
Yeah, it's fine. No rush. It's a nice night, honestly.
Drink, and he taps his cane on the roof, and like a fridge pops up. He goes as it hands you an ice cold beer.
I just take it. I'm just like, nope, I'm taking this. That sucked a second ago.
Like I said, I hope there's no hard feelings.
No, I get it. I'm not upset. Listen, I'm not upset. You know how it is. I know how it is.
He pulls out a bottle of wine and pours it into a glass and sips the wine.
Salute. Yeah. I hear you. I understand. Understand where you're coming from, what you're offering. And I'm really sorry to turn you down. Nothing personal. I'll probably see you again.
I'll be back.
Maybe, we might not run into each other again. We might, I don't know. Who never knows? Some people say, knows, points to the ceiling, but doesn't fucking know.
Who knows?
But if it makes you feel better, I think your employees are gonna keep going, and I'm not gonna stop them. I think they're, and maybe, who knows, one of them will take over and be the manager, the boss of all of the other ones, or maybe they'll work together.
Who's to say?
I think the next time we see each other, we can say, consider this an experiment, a bet, if you will.
I do love a bet.
If next time we see each other, drinks are on me. If one of these goblins decides to, that the chair you have looks really nice. But if not, then drinks are on you.
You know what? You drive a pretty hard bargain, and I can't turn down a properly entertaining deal.
There we go. See, when I see a pulse gun shoots it.
I was about to say, I think like moments before you pull the trigger, cracks his cane in half, and there is there's like a rifle pistol in there. Takes the shot, it goes over your shoulder. You pull the shotgun, you pull the bullet. He's blasted to hell, and
I have lost the bullet.
You are down one bullet. This demon has been obliterated, and we watch as a bunch of goblins, walk up. I think one of them sees you. The same conductor sees you sees you standing there, like, shotgun in hand. You kind of hop down, and you turn back. It's still a food court. Yeah. It is still the same building, but you do see that there is one additional place, one additional storefront, and it is Marquez's diner, which was the diner from before. Like, it has a dedicated storefront in this food court at the very least.
Yeah. I think she looks at it and, hey, it hurts too much. Even then, I think she's just gonna walk to the back of this train, fall asleep, wake up in whatever city she wakes up, and keep going.
So we see this bullet train barrel down. We see you drift off. You collect another second bullet, and that is game.
Woo!
That's so much fun.
What a good
game.
What a good game.
Good vibes. I feel great. This was very, very nice. I'm so glad we got to do this. What a great time.
Oh, this is so good.
Thank you so much for joining me on Party of One. This was a delight.
Jeff, every single time. I'm always going to say yes.
Let me ask you, favorite part?
God, I'm so happy you let me do the... Okay, let's talk about seizing the means of production here.
I knew
was not expecting that. I was like,
I wasn't sure, some of the GM advice in the book is, present interesting scenarios and, don't come up with a solution. I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. I was just like, there's going to be a conductor that is going to, very literally gatekeep you from getting on the train. And then as soon as you started pointing in a direction, I was like, okay, this just works.
It definitely felt like I've had these conversations, or versions of them, of two working stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you're just like, hey, you just share a cigarette, you share a drink with someone, you share words with someone of encouragement, and it's like a part of you has to believe that not everyone feels like they're just millionaires, temporarily ashamed millionaires, and are ready to step on anyone and anything to destroy each other. Like, man, we're just fucking surviving. Oh, yeah. And I might even disagree with what you're doing in the way of you're making this progress of this thing that I considered beautiful, but fuck, maybe I'm wrong. As long as y'all are fed and happy and okay, and you're the ones doing it, vaya con Dios.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, that was my favorite part for sure.
I really the other scene that I really loved, I wasn't sure. The other thing I wasn't sure what was going to go was the scene in the diner itself. I was like, I want to introduce all three kinds of demons. I was like, I want to have a dedicated scene where a goblin uses goblin powers, causes some tech.
Yeah. A goblin separate from another demon.
Yeah, a goblin is a
goblin on its own. They
want to it says that they believe that they are making the world a better place, and I was like, that's not. I was like, nothing about this is particularly bad. So I was like, what if a god and so just presenting that moment, and truly the fact that you did not even go over and try to talk to them, I was like, this actually is better than I could have hoped.
Yeah, listen, sometimes this is how I am in games in general, even in big Baldur's Gate, you don't have to talk to every NPC. Yeah. You totally can, and maybe, but you don't have to. You can talk to some of them, and then if you play it again, you talk to a different people, and I don't know, it's jazz, baby. It's the NPCs you don't talk to.
It's magic. It is. Yeah. I fucking love games. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for playing this with me. I had the best time. So real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at at Fabby_Garza. And you can find my itch at Fabby Bear. It's slash Fabby Bear. The last thing I made there, like last year, was a war game where you are transgender lesbians in mechs trying to flirt with each other. I think it's a neat little piece of design that one day I'll revisit. But otherwise, you can find me on Eidolon Playtest. If you support the podcast, you get access to a bunch of extra podcasts for a couple dollars a month. You get Eidolon Playlist, where we talk about the music that we covered. If you subscribe right now, as of time to recording, you can hear what I think is the best episode of Eidolon Playlist, where we talk about Off Montreal. It's been called the most psychosexual episode of Eidolon Playlist. We talk about Dadaism. We talk about kinks. We talk about the feeling of being loved. We talk about French objectivism. It's a great episode.
I love that. That rules.
We talk about the One Slur. We talk about Snoop Dogg and the Doors. What else could you need? And that's
shit.
like $3 a month, I believe. Yeah. And then, like I said, me and Marie's podcast, Ultra Hulambo, just put that on Patreon, and you can find it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining me for the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm over the moon. This is great. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take a future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Fabby for coming on to the show. That game was really, it's been sitting in my mind since we played it. It's something really, really special. I just feel like when Adira reached out and was like, hey, I have this game. Do you want to play it? And do you want to play it with someone that's not me? Fabby's name was the first name I thought of, and I knew that the game was going to be something special, and I could not be happier with the experience that we had. And as I mentioned at the top of the episode, thank you to Adira, not just for designing what is a really powerful, evocative, wonderful game that has really just been sitting with me and absorbed me and has captivated my attention and my mind. Thank you for also sitting down with me for this Patreon interview to talk about the things about the game that really spoke to me and hit me in the heart. It's a great interview. Head over to Patreon to check it out. And then be sure to head to adira.itch.io to pick up your own copy of Deadly Weapons. Head to fabbygarza.card.co to check out all of the things Fabby is working on, including Eidolon Playtest, the award-winning podcast, one of my favorite actual plays of all time. And be sure to follow Fabby on Twitter at Fabby_Garza, as long as Twitter is still a fucking thing. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/PartyOfOnePodcast. Find us on TikTok at Party of One Podcast. Find us on Tumblr at Party of One Pod. Subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/PartyOfOnePodcast. And join our Discord community at bit.ly/PartyOfOneDiscord. If you enjoy the show, there's a lot of ways to support it. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or Ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/PartyOfOneMerch. Or, if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano-Saez. We take a listener-submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And, unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.